Yes, yes. Well, welcome to the channel. Always good to be here, and I believe everyone is doing well. And so, as you know, we usually have all these chats, and it's like, okay, what do we do today, and how do we go about it? So we started talking about property. Like, yes, yes. People are always asking, should I buy? Should I rent? I'm like, okay, is that a big thing? Is it a big question? Is it better to buy? Is it better to rent? My opinion is that depends on your stage in life, depends on where you are, what you are about. And then the discussion went on into about leaving a legacy, creating an advantage. And like, legacy for who? When what you have, your kids may not even be interested in. What you think is great, they may not even be too keen on it. So it goes back to now analyzing, why would I rent or why would I buy? And how long am I staying in a place? How long am I um can I actually afford to buy what I would like? Am I being wasteful by renting? And unfortunately, I've found that some really want to buy. They are in the correct, all the tick boxes for buying. They've got a family, they've got permanent jobs, they've got this. But due to past financial mishaps, maybe having a bad credit score or having a bad credit record or not being able to prove that you are credit worthy, then they're not able to buy. And so renting becomes what is the only option. It's not even a choice. You just have to rent. And some others may rent because they're not sure they're staying in a place too long. I always feel that one is is a touch and go situation. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm staying 1 year. I'm not sure if I'm staying 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Then 7 years, you're like, Abi, we have been here for 7 years. What do we do now? Right. So I think sometimes it's really about making those big decisions. If you have the opportunity, you have the wherewithal, you have the financial muscle or the good credit rating, renting tends to work out, or buying tends to work out better, because then you can start building or creating wealth in the property value that you may be renting into. You can start having a better stay, even in the apartment that you're renting, or that you're buying, excuse me. So you can have a better stay in the apartment that you're buying because it's your own. There's a level of commitment, there's a level of belonging. You invest yourself into the property because you own it. You invest yourself into the property, even in terms of how you maintain it, how you manage it, how you are even able to put on additions or create a presence through that property, because you own it. And then I think even in that, whilst we may have the opportunity to buy a piece of property, I don't think we should buy something that would strain us. Sometimes it may even be better to buy something that could give you extra income. So you're not just living in it, but it becomes something that maybe there's a portion of it you can rent out, and then there's extra funds coming in, which then services the bond that you've bought into. So at the entry level, it may be that you have 2 bedrooms and you're able to share for a time, if you have that opportunity, whereby you own, and then even your tenant who is renting the one room is actually paying you out of the bond. So this may work for a single person, a young person who has bought a property and is enduring. How will I say, is building. The part of building may not be so comfortable, in the sense that you have a tenant, somebody sharing your space, your kitchen, your bathroom, even if it doesn't have a separate bathroom, but you know why that is happening. The funds, extra funds you get in, may help even in reducing the bond on the property. And sooner you'll be able to reduce it to an amount that you are comfortable. And as one progresses, you now have a partner, a spouse, you're looking at getting married. You may not even marry into that same property, because the point of view that you may have paid it off, you can now sell it and get something more appropriate for you, or you actually start your family there. Then at another level, I believe that your property should actually be able to maintain itself. What does that mean? It means that the property you sit on should have some kind of income generating, so that it maintains the yard, it maintains even the services that comes in, can fix the roof, can fix the broken lock here and there. So if you are fortunate to be able to arrange that kind of thing where the property actually maintains itself, I think it's number one, right? And then for those who are even at an advanced stage, maybe you're now retiring and children have left the house, the property doesn't become a burden because it has its own source of income and it can run itself. So that again is something I would personally look forward to, whereby um as one goes into twilight years, you have you the property doesn't become a burden. I've seen a lot of older couples whereby the property becomes a burden. There's a leaking roof and you can't fix the roof because there's no income to do that, or the geyser burst and it's like, we can't even fix the geyser, or the house just starts looking dilapidated, in such a way that it just needs a coat of paint, but we can't afford the coat of paint. And this is because the sources of income that were managing or that were being used to maintain the property, which was your salary, has now stopped. So if the property is able to generate its own income, maintain itself, so it's not just generating income so that I have income to spend on me, but it's generating income so that there is income not only to spend on me, but more importantly, to look after the property. And then there are many who have looked at solar income or installing solar panels on their properties. How does that benefit the property as a whole? Is it something that you could use in a way that it maintains itself? I feel that would just be number one. And then you could also have other things that happens on the property. In the housing studies, you would find that in what we call the RDP houses, there are generational claim to the property, such that the parents who actually benefited from government subsidized housing, this is in South Africa, they have gone away, and what has been left behind for the children is this property. But because the children don't even understand the value of the property, they don't understand how there could be capital locked into the property, then sometimes for something so unreasonable, they lose that property. There is an author, Hernando de Soto. He talks about the mystery of capital, and he argued that in Africa a lot of us sit on our capital. We sit on our property values. We don't get the value out of it. I know in my home country, Nigeria, it's like, don't sell the property, it must remain in the family. But the family has outgrown the property, or there is now need to reinvent that capital, to reinvent the property. Maybe the house needs to come down and something new comes up so that it's now meeting the new needs. But there are many, I do appreciate that there are many sociocultural values that we speak to, that is embedded in culture, and in property in our African context, like having family members buried within the house or within the premises. How do you dispose of that? How do you unlock the capital in it? And then we now see poverty perpetuating because there is a lot of locked up capital. So in instances like in the big cities where people can invest in property and actually use property as a means of, as a tool, not necessarily as an inheritance, or a legacy. It's a tool. I need the house, so I have the house. I don't need the house, so I don't have the house. That kind of way. But it takes a bit of deep thinking, a bit of prayer and fasting, and what do we do? How do we go about unlocking capital from different properties. So, and I think in Johannesburg, for instance, there are a lot of migrant workers who would not necessarily want to buy, because there is the belief that I'm going to go back to my inland or my homeland. So why do I want a property in the city? I think that is a bit misplaced, because you can use it as a tool for creating wealth. It's not necessarily a legacy, it's just a tool. And then, even where we now find your involvement in property may not necessarily be for you. There may be a need, right? There may be a need for affordable housing, or there may be a need for student housing, or old people, old age housing, retirement homes, and then you have the capacity to meet that need that the society or the community you have it. So it's not about you. Maybe that would make it easier for some of us to invest. That by investing in property is not necessarily about you. It could be you being a channel of blessing to somebody who needs accommodation, and there are different types of accommodation that we would find. I mean, you're all aware of the Airbnb. People are giving up portions of their home, a room. You could rent a room from someone. That's another way of going about it. But there is another one I found. Rent a room. This one has less finesse than the Airbnb, and it's really about, I need a place to sleep. So somebody who is stranded, for instance, in the city, and comes across rent a room, and person can get a warm bed to sleep in and a roof over their head, you've actually met a need. So it's no longer about you making income, but about you meeting needs. So there are different ways of justifying why you would rent, buy, or even rent out what you have. Some may think it's about making money, but it may actually be about being a blessing. How do you meet the needs of those who may be stranded? So, going back to the question, do I rent or do I buy? Really, really take stock of where you are, take stock of what the need is, take stock of time. How long do you think you will be in that place? And don't say, I'm only going to be here for 2 years, so I'm not going to buy. Your 2 years could become 4 years. And then, if only, we now start having those if only songs. Right. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. And please love, like, and share the videos. Ciao.